welcome to my multimodal project about inflation and you, the consumer. Mainly, I'm going to be focusing on consumers that are purchasing of food and beverages by me, Amaya Wasden. To start off this presentation about inflation, I will be discussing the rising prices of food. What is inflation? In order to understand inflation, first you must know the definition of what it means. Inflation is a fall in the value of money and a general increase in prices. The rate at which this happens is usually due to economic issues. The more recent issues being, since COVID, the world shut down and a lot has happened since then, including inflation going up due to the world being put on hold. Prices have gone up since the early 2000s, but more now than ever. Prices have increased 11% from 2021 to 2022. This is the highest increase for over 40 years. Grocery store food prices increased 1.3% from September of 2023 to September of 2024, according to the U.S. Facts team. Some groceries, as shown in this graph to the right, were impacted more and increased higher in prices. This includes bananas, cheese, potatoes, eggs, beef, tomatoes, chicken, whole milk, and bread were all greatly affected by inflation. You might be wondering, why are grocery prices so high? I'll explain why. One of the reasons is supply chain challenges. Supply chains are very fragile things. When one thing breaks, it usually has a chain reaction of effect that affects the other branches. Another reason why grocery prices are so high is higher labor and transportation costs. Because everything is more expensive now, hiring help for labor is now more expensive, and transportation has also increased in price. Another reason is animal disease. The avian flu in 2022 impacted egg and chicken prices in the U.S., making eggs and chicken more expensive. Another reason for eggs and chickens being more expensive is due to human error, in which we were not careful with the breed of chicken and made a big mistake. Another reason is extreme weather events, damaged crops. Extreme weather events have been a real challenge for everyone involved, including climate change, which is starting to have great environmental effects on the world. Smaller portion sizes. Have you noticed that your Snickers bar has been smaller than you thought it used to be? Or have you noticed that a certain brand is not lasting as long as it usually does? The reason is shrinkflation. What is shrinkflation? Shrinkflation is the practice of reducing the size of a product while maintaining its sticker price. Therefore, it gets smaller while the price stays the same. The theory behind shrinkflation is that a higher price, more than anything else, is what turns consumers off of a product. This is said by Vice. Several surveys confirm that 72% to 81% of Americans have noticed the changes in their products. For example, I once used to buy a pasta box for when I cook, and it was 16 ounces of pasta before it shrank in size. Now it is only 14.5 ounces of pasta in the box. You might be asking why companies are downsizing their products. Food companies typically turn the downsizing when their costs rise, so they can keep the prices for their products lower. Food companies have been dealing with many of the same price hikes as consumers, therefore they are also greatly affected by the price hike. Since ingredients are costing more money, they now have to increase their prices, and in order to get the consumer to buy their products, they have to lower their size portions. Lower quality. Have you noticed that your products have now gotten maybe not as good as they once were? The reason is skimflation. Skimflation is the reduced quality of goods or services for the same or higher price. Products on the shelves are getting quantifiably smaller, and yet you're still paying the same price. Companies are swapping out for cheaper ingredients in their products and so that they can save on costs. Unlike with shrinkflation, skimflation is a lot harder to catch, as in order to catch skimflation, you have to know what the ingredients in your product are. However, with shrinkflation, you can easily see by memorizing the portion size. Why do companies do this? To save money and to make up for labor shortages. Because of how expensive things are getting, hiring labor is a lot harder, so that companies have to save money where they can. Some possible solutions. Be aware of what you buy and make sure that you are aware of how much you buy. You should practice healthy budgeting options to help fight inflation and keep yourself stable. Spread awareness and make a scene if you want changes to happen, so that way companies will hear you and make changes, as they will cater to their consumers more often than not. Try to encourage to normalize being told during purchases when products' ingredients have changed, for safety reasons involving allergies. If somebody usually eats a product and ingredients have suddenly changed, that can cause an allergic reaction. Conclusion. Since COVID, the world has changed and inflation has gotten a lot worse in over 40 years. Since 40 years. And there's a lot of factors that have to go into inflation, including food prices going up, sizes getting smaller, and quality overall going down. Of course, there are always ways that you can fight inflation in your own way. Of course, you might think one person, it does not matter, but that is not true. If enough people rally together, then you can truly help make inflation level back out for the economy.